Azure Site Recovery. Key rule/definition. ASR replicates workloads to Azure Storage and creates Azure VMS only during failover. Typical minimum RTO is under 15 minutes, with RPO about 1 hour for application consistency and 5 minutes for crash consistency. Rapid recall hint. SQL Server DR plus RTO/RPO equals ASR. Azure File Sync with Azure Files. Key rule/definition. Azure File Sync centralizes Windows Server file shares in Azure Files while leaving local Windows servers as caches. Rapid recall hint. Windows File Server Cache and Cloud Share. Azure Blob Storage. Key rule/definition. Blob storage is object storage for unstructured data and integrates with Azure CDN for globally cached delivery. Rapid recall hint. Unstructured object data equals blob. Azure Data Box. Key rule/definition. Data Box provides a physical device, portal-based service management, and local web UI. The device has about 80 TB usable capacity. Rapid recall hint. Huge/offline transfer equals data box. Archive tier and rehydration. Key rule/definition. Archive blobs are offline and must be rehydrated to hot/cool before reading. Rehydration can take hours and has transaction/retrieval costs. Rapid recall hint. Rare plus hours acceptable equals archive. Lifecycle management policy. Key rule/definition. Lifecycle management moves blobs between access tiers automatically based on age/rules. Rapid recall hint. Automatic tier movement equals lifecycle management. GRS storage account choice. Key rule/definition. Standard GPv2 supports GRS. GRS replicates data to a secondary region hundreds of miles away. Rapid recall hint. Regional outage durability equals GRS/GZRS family. Container access policy. Key rule/definition. A container access policy provides targeted control over blob permissions such as read/write/delete/list and avoids sharing the storage account key. Rapid recall hint. Control blob access without key equals container access policy. Azure Cosmos DB SLA. Key rule/definition. Cosmos DB provides SLAs across availability, throughput, consistency, and latency. Rapid recall hint. 4 SLAs equals Cosmos DB. Shared access signature. Key rule/definition. SAS limits what resources a client can access, what permissions they have, and how long access remains valid. Rapid recall hint. Scope storage access token equals SAS. Azure Hybrid benefit for SQL. Key rule/definition. Azure Hybrid benefit for Azure SQL database applies to the provisioned compute tier of the vCore-based model. It does not apply to DTU or serverless. Rapid recall hint. AHB for SQL DB equals provisioned vCore. Blob versioning support. Key rule/definition. Premium block blobs and premium file shares generally support LRS/ZRS, not GRS. Standard GPv2 supports richer redundancy options. Rapid recall hint. Versioning, GPv2/premium block blob. GRS, standard GPv2. Azure Backup RPO/RTO. Key rule/definition. Azure Backup stores recovery points in a recovery services vault. Standard policy minimum RPO is 1 day, enhanced policy can reduce minimum RPO to 4 hours. Rapid recall hint. Standard backup policy equals daily RPO. VPN troubleshoot. Key rule/definition. VPN troubleshoot is an Azure Network Watcher tool for diagnosing VPN gateways, validating connection status, analyzing path, and reviewing throughput/latency/packet loss. Rapid recall hint. VPN gateway issues equals network watcher VPN troubleshoot. VM scale sets across regions. Key rule/definition. A VM scale set can scale and provide zone/fault domain resiliency, but a single region deployment is still affected by regional failure. Multi-region scale sets are needed for region-level resiliency. Rapid recall hint. Region failure requires multi-region. Dedicated hosts with zones. Key rule/definition. A host group can be aligned to an availability zone, to span 3 zones. Create one host group and corresponding scale set per zone. Rapid recall hint. 1 zone equals 1 host group, 3 zones equals 3. Front door regional failover. Key rule/definition. Azure Front Door performs backend health monitoring and can reroute traffic to a healthy regional backend such as Tokyo when Singapore is unavailable. Rapid recall hint. Front door health probe plus global routing equals regional failover. App service deployment slots. Key rule/definition. Deployment slots let you test changes outside production, warm up instances before swap, use auto swap, and roll back by swapping back. Rapid recall hint. Staging plus swap equals deployment slot. Custom component. Key rule/definition. The PDF lists custom component equals server VM. Rapid recall hint. Custom component equals server-side VM. Azure SQL Managed Instance Business Critical. Key rule/definition. Business Critical is the managed instance tier called out in the uploaded continuity notes. Rapid recall hint. Managed instance plus high performance equals business critical. Azure NAT Gateway. Key rule/definition. NAT Gateway provides managed outbound internet connectivity for private resources using static public IP addresses or prefixes. Rapid recall hint. Private VM outbound equals NAT Gateway. Azure Migrate/Resource Mover. Key rule/definition. The PDF explicitly maps these workloads/tools. Rapid recall hint. Assess/migrate equals Azure Migrate, move resources equals Resource Mover. Azure Service Bus Topic. Key rule/definition. A service bus topic supports publish/subscribe. Each subscription receives a copy of messages sent to the topic. Rapid recall hint. Pub/sub equals topic plus subscriptions. Azure Data Studio. Key rule/definition. The Azure SQL Migration Extension assesses requirements, provides SKU recommendations, and migrates SQL Server databases to Azure SQL Managed Instance. Rapid recall hint. SQL Server SQL MI minimal downtime equals Azure Data Studio extension. HTTP trigger authorization. Key rule/definition. Anonymous requires no API key. GET is the HTTP method used to retrieve data for read-only operations. Rapid recall hint. Public read API equals anonymous plus GET. Function App Premium Plan. Key rule/definition. Functions Premium supports VNet integration and event-driven serverless execution while avoiding billing for idle time in the same way as dedicated always-on compute. Rapid recall hint. Function plus VNet private IP equals Premium. Azure ExpressRoute. Key rule/definition. ExpressRoute bypasses the public internet by using private connectivity to Microsoft Cloud Services. Rapid recall hint. No public internet plus low latency equals ExpressRoute. Azure SQL Database Serverless. Key rule/definition. SQL Database Serverless is offered in general purpose and hyperscale service tiers and uses the vCore purchase model. Rapid recall hint. Serverless SQL DB equals vCore, general purpose / hyperscale. B-Series Virtual Machines. Key rule / definition. B-Series VMS accumulate CPU credits below baseline and can burst to higher CPU when needed. Rapid recall hint. Burstable CPU credits equals B-Series. Azure Cycle Cloud. Key rule / definition. Cycle Cloud supports cluster templates for schedulers such as Slurm, PBS Pro, LSF, Grid Engine, HT-Condor, and file systems such as NFS and BGFS. Rapid recall hint. HPC cluster orchestration equals Cycle Cloud. Azure Front Door. Key rule / definition. Azure Front Door routes users to low-latency endpoints, caches at edge locations, monitors health, and automatically fails over across regions. Rapid recall hint. Global Web Acceleration plus failover equals Front Door. Azure Blueprints. Key rule / definition. Blueprint definitions can be saved at management group / subscription scope. Assignments are created at subscription scope. Root management group makes the blueprint available across child subscriptions. Rapid recall hint. Define high, assigned to subscriptions. Virtual nodes. Key rule / definition. Virtual nodes let AX provision pods quickly and pay per second for execution time. Only Linux pods / nodes are supported in the scenario. Rapid recall hint. Burst pods without VM node weight equals virtual nodes. Azure Service Fabric. Key rule / definition. Service Fabric supports distributed microservice applications with independent upgrades and automatic repair behavior. Rapid recall hint. Stateful / stateless microservices at scale equals Service Fabric. Functions Premium Plan. Key rule / definition. Functions Premium supports long-running functions and event-driven scale while scaling down during low load. Rapid recall hint. Long-running plus auto-scale functions equals Premium. Azure Cache for Redis. Key rule / definition. Redis stores cached data in memory, reducing SQL database load, latency, and repeated queries. Rapid recall hint. Cache SQL reads equals Redis. Azure SQL TDE with CMK. Key rule / definition. TDE protector must be asymmetric RSA or RSA HSM. Supported key lengths are 2048 and 3072 bits. Rapid recall hint. TDE CMK strongest listed equals RSA 3072.